Today we're driving the all-new Hyundai Ioniq 5. Thanks to Brian at Fitzpatricks Hyundai Kildare town for giving us the Ioniq for a few hours. The Ioniq 5's exterior proportions are deceiving. It looks like a standard hatchback-sized car, but it actually is more like a crossover in disguise. For context, it's the same size as a Range Rover Evoque. It sits between the Tucson and the Santa Fe in the Hyundai lineup. This car was designed to be an EV from wheels to wipers, and therefore space has been maximised with the longer wheelbase. This spec is the premium Irish trim model with the 58 kWh battery, and this one starts from just under €45,000. There are other specs and battery sizes that we will discuss in the video. The styling of the Ioniq is unique, but I like it. Its square body stands out from the crowd and makes people look twice as you pass by. Those pixel effect lights at the rear and distinctive LEDs at the front make for an interesting design. Hyundai call this colour Atlas White. Let us know, do the futuristic looks appeal to you in the comments below. The boot door on this model is not electrically assisted. The space itself is wide and there is 527 litres of boot space. There is storage underneath the floor of the boot, handy for storing charging cables, and I guess with the batteries taking up space under the car's floor, that means there's no room for a spare wheel. The door handles lie flush with the body when the car is locked or moving, helping with aerodynamics. Materials used on the door are really good quality, and there is decent cubby space at the bottom of the door as well. There are acres of legroom and headroom is more than sufficient, even for me at around 6'4". There is room under the front seats to put your feet as well if needed, and you get pockets in the seat backs, as well as 2 USB ports to keep rear passengers happy. The air vents are cleverly put into the B-pillar, which is not something you see very often. The width of this car adds to the spacious interior feel, and it greatly benefits a third passenger if they've to sit in the middle. The flat floor helps too. From the rear point of view, the Ioniq 5 definitely is capable of being a family car, and a good one at that. The seats can also fold for the occasional IKEA trip, and these rear seats can also slide forwards and backwards, as well as being able to recline. Up front, the driver gets 2 screens. Both are clear, crisp displays that deal well with glare from the sun, as you can see. The layout and menus are familiar and are similar to what you'll find in the current Tucson, as well as other modern Hyundais. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are standard across the range. Hyundai have put a physical dial in for the radio's volume. They've also put shortcut buttons for the media system and touch-sensitive buttons for climate control. It means that it's pretty hassle-free to find what you're looking for, and you don't have to take your eyes off the road for very long. Thankfully, they weren't tempted to throw everything into a touchscreen like Tesla. Interior build quality is as you would expect from the Korean brand. They know by now how to make quality cars, and the Ioniq 5 feels premium, yet user-friendly and not overwhelming in terms of tech. Tesla will be definitely taking note of the Ioniq 5, as will the German brands. The movable center console is clever and gives an extra feeling of spaciousness, allowing you to slide the unit that holds the armrest, USBs and cup holders backwards or forwards depending on your preference. Another quirk is the glove box that is actually a tray, and it looks like it can hold most things that you'd want to store in there. The steering actually gives you a reasonable amount of feedback. This car is rear-wheel drive, so it's not bad to drive, and it feels fairly agile. However, it's still a big heavy car, so its handling isn't going to be razor sharp, but it's more than acceptable. It still has that usual amount of instant torque that will come into play when overtaking, and that can make it electrifying to drive, excuse the pun. But the overall vibe when behind the wheel of this EV is more laid back than lively. There are 3 drive modes: Eco, Normal and Sport. The car is designed to do a job, and that is to be a comfortable, stylish and desirable EV with a decent range. This is the Irish spec premium trim model with the 58 kWh battery, and can do a claimed 384 kilometers on a full charge. Real world figures probably more in the region of 340 kilometers, which has to be said is still more than most people will need on a daily basis. From behind the wheel, it really doesn't feel as big as it is. It drives like a hatchback, and you've got plenty of safety tech like a reversing camera to help with parking. The seating position is a little bit higher than a hatch and feels similar to that of a crossover's driving position. The two-spoke steering wheel itself is wrapped in a leather-like material. There's no Hyundai badge here though. Instead, they've gone for a pixel theme, obviously taken from the rear lights. The paddle shifters behind the wheel adjust the level of regen braking, so you can find the level that works for your driving style. The suspension setup definitely prioritises comfort, with bumps and potholes being absorbed well. All-round visibility is helped by the boxy shape and plenty of glass, and the big door mirrors have blind spot assist as well, which is handy on the motorway. Also handy on the motorway is the suite of driving tech you get on this premium trim, such as adaptive cruise control and speed sign recognition. Road noise is also kept at bay by impressive soundproofing, and this car can be a comfortable cruiser if needed. Brian Doolan from Fitzpatricks has told us that between now and April next year, he will be getting in 14 Ioniqs. With the amount of hype around this model, I would imagine demand will well exceed those numbers, and with the current worldwide shortage of new cars, waiting times could be an issue. We'll have to see what happens. However, I feel like most buyers will be prepared to wait for the Ioniq 5. There is another battery size available, a larger 73 kWh unit, and comes with all-wheel drive. That should achieve over 400 kilometers on a charge. In Ireland, there are 4 trims: Executive, Executive Plus, Premium, which is this one, and Premium Plus. The Executive starts at just under 38 grand in Ireland. A heat pump comes standard on all trims except the entry-level Executive, and it's future-proofed in terms of charging as well, with up to 220 kilowatt charging possible. The Kia EV6 is pretty much the same car in a different package, but nevertheless Hyundai have put together a phenomenally good EV here. The Koreans can't seem to put a foot wrong at the moment, and this definitely puts it up to the likes of the Volkswagen ID4, Tesla Model 3 and Skoda Enyaq. With there being no badge on the steering wheel, it could be very easy to forget that you're in a Hyundai and not something with a 3-pointed star. I get the feeling Hyundai are only getting started, with plenty more EVs in the pipeline that are ready as ever to take on the big boys. The Ioniq 5 also shows us that EVs are starting to get really good. Thanks for watching the video. We're getting so close to 1,000 subscribers, so if you could hit subscribe, that would be fantastic. As always, we'll talk to you in the next one. Thanks for watching Deck of Cars.